The train pulls out of the valley station just as the last light gives up behind the ridge line. You feel it before you hear it. A low shudder through the floor, through the soles of your shoes, up into your knees where you sit with your bag tucked beside you like a second passenger. Your compartment is small and warm and smells faintly of cedar polish and something like old paper. The lamp above your seat wears a little brass shade, and it throws a circle of honey-colored light onto the fold-down table, leaving the corners of the room in soft, forgiving shadow. Outside the window, the world has already turned to silhouette. Pine trees stacked black against a sky that hasn't decided yet if it's blue or gray. There's a knock, gentle, more announcement than request, and the porter slides the door open with the particular quiet of someone who has done this 1,000 times. He sets down a small pot of tea without a word wasted, just a nod, just the clink of porcelain settling onto the tray. Steam rises off the spout in a thin, unhurried curl. You pour it slowly. The liquid comes out the color of dark honey, and the cup warms your palms through the china before you've even lifted it to your mouth. Somewhere 2 cars down, someone laughs at something you'll never know the punchline to, and the sound travels through the walls, softened into something almost musical. The train finds its rhythm now, that steady clack and sway, like the whole world has agreed to breathe at the same slow pace. You lean your temple against the cool glass and watch the pines blur into long, dark streaks, occasionally broken by a single lit window in a farmhouse window, gone as soon as it appears. You wonder, idly, who lives there, whether they're making tea too. The route climbs. You can feel it in your ears, that faint pressure, that tightening hush, as the train winds up through switchbacks toward the manor at the top of the mountain, your destination, though tonight it doesn't feel urgent to arrive anywhere. The tea is still too hot to drink properly, so you just hold it, feeling the warmth travel up through your wrists, and you let your shoulders drop an inch you didn't know they were holding. A blanket is folded on the seat across from you, red plaid, a little scratchy looking, clearly meant for exactly this moment. You reach over and pull it across your lap, tucking the edge under one knee. It smells like cedar too, like it's been folded in that same drawer as the polish for years. There's a particular kind of comfort in a blanket that already knows the shape of a lap. The tea cools by degrees, the way it always does, from too hot to just right sometime around your 3rd sip, and you catch it exactly there, that small, quiet victory of timing you didn't even try for. Outside, the trees give way briefly to open sky, and for a moment you can see stars scattered thick over the mountain shoulder, undimmed by any town for miles. The rhythm of the wheels doesn't change, but something in your chest does. A loosening, a settling, like a held breath finally let go. You rest the cup back on its saucer. You watch the dark keep sliding past the window, unhurried, patient, headed the same way you are. Somewhere ahead, past this bend and the next, the manor is waiting with its own lit windows and its own quiet rooms. But that's ahead. Right now there's only the train and the tea and the blanket and the long, easy climb through the trees. The train slows without announcing why. No station lights, no voice over a speaker, just the gentle give of the brakes and the forest outside easing from a blur back into individual trees. You sit up a little, the blanket sliding from one shoulder. Through the window, the pines have thinned. Beyond them, the land drops away into a valley filled with slow-moving mist, and somewhere below, a scatter of small lights that might be a village, or might just be your imagination, warmed by too much tea. The compartment door is still closed. The tea in your cup has gone from too hot to just right, and you wrap both hands around it, out of habit more than need. Outside, the mist rises in long, unhurried curls, catching the moonlight and holding it for a moment before letting it go. A sound reaches you faintly through the glass. Not quite a bell, not quite wind. It could be the train easing over a switch in the tracks. It could be something in the valley itself. A shepherd's bell, a loose shutter. You decide it doesn't need explaining. Some sounds are better left as texture than as fact. The window has fogged slightly at the corners from the difference between the cold glass and the warm compartment air. You draw one small clear circle with the side of your fist, the way you might have as a child on a car window, and through it, the valley looks even more like something painted than something real. There's a soft knock at the compartment door. Not urgent, almost apologetic. A steward, perhaps, or a fellow passenger, unsure which car is theirs. You don't rise to answer it right away. You let it sit for a breath, savoring the last of the warmth pooled around your knees. And when the knock doesn't come again, you settle back, deciding it resolved itself, whatever it was. The train finds its rhythm again, wheels catching the rails in that low, even clatter that had nearly lulled you to sleep before. The valley slides sideways and vanishes behind a stand of taller pines. And for a while, there's only forest again, black-green and endless, brushing close enough to the window that you could almost believe you could reach through the glass and touch a branch. Your tea has cooled to the exact temperature where you stop noticing it as hot or cold at all. Just present, just held. You take a slow sip anyway, more for the ritual of it than the taste. Somewhere ahead, though you can't see it yet, the Manor is waiting at the top of this grade. Its windows lit against the dark, the way they must have been lit for 100 years of travelers arriving just like this. Tired, comfortable, in no particular hurry to arrive. The thought settles over you like the blanket has, without your quite noticing when it happened. The track curves, gently enough that the cup barely tilts in your hands. Outside, a last patch of valley mist catches the moon one more time before the pines close in again, thick and unbroken. You lean your head against the cool glass, the vibration of the train humming faintly through your skull, steady as a second heartbeat, carrying you higher into the mountain without asking anything of you at all. The compartment door slides open with a soft wooden knock against its frame, and the attendant leans in, balancing a small tray against his forearm. He doesn't say much. He never does on this route. Just a nod, and the tray tilts toward you, offering the last of the evening service. A single shortbread biscuit, pale and dusted with sugar, and a small glass of something amber that catches the light, like it's been waiting all night to do just that. You take both, murmur your thanks, and he's gone again, the door easing shut with a click that feels final in the nicest way. No more stops, no more offers. Just you, now, and this small, quiet gift. The biscuit is dense, a little crumbly at the edges. It breaks cleanly between your fingers. Some part of you notices the sound it makes, a dry, papery snap, almost lost under the train's steady rhythm underneath everything. You eat it slowly, not because you're savoring it exactly, but because there's nowhere else this needs to go. No rush written into this moment at all. Outside, the pines have thinned to almost nothing now, replaced by bare rock catching moonlight in long, pale streaks. You notice it without really looking, the way you notice a song playing in another room. Your attention is closer than that. It's here, on the taste of sugar dissolving, on the faint burn of the drink warming your throat on the way down. Someone down the carriage laughs quietly at something, a low sound swallowed almost immediately by distance and the train's constant hum. You wonder, idly, who else is riding tonight. Whether they're heading to the same Manor or somewhere else entirely, some other pocket of mountain dark you'll never see. It doesn't matter. The wondering is enough. You set the empty glass down on the small fold-out table, and it makes the faintest ring against the wood. a note that hangs in the air for exactly as long as it takes to fade. The last crumbs of shortbread sit on a paper napkin, and you gather them absently with one finger, more out of habit than hunger. There's a particular kind of comfort in being fed a small thing at the end of a long day by someone who asks for nothing in return. You hadn't realized how much you needed that until it happened. The warmth of it settles somewhere behind your ribs, quieter than the drink, longer lasting than the taste of sugar. The train hums on beneath you, that same low, constant note it's carried since the beginning of the journey, and you let your shoulders drop another inch into the seat. Whatever waits at the Manor can wait a little longer. Right now, there's only this small fullness, this glass ring drying on the table, this particular hour of the night that asks nothing of you at all. The compartment has gone quiet, in that particular way that only happens deep into a journey, when the train itself seems to exhale. You notice for the first time tonight the small brass lamp fixed beside your window. Its shade is the color of old tea, and it throws a warm circle onto the little fold-down table, leaving the rest of the compartment in soft, blue-edged shadow. You reach over and turn the switch. The lamp doesn't click so much as sigh into brightness, a low, warm glow that makes the dark glass of the window turn almost into a mirror. For a moment, you catch your own reflection there, faint and doubled with the shapes of rock and pine sliding behind it, and it feels less like looking at yourself and more like sharing the glass with the mountain outside. The fabric of the seat under your palm is a deep, worn velvet, slightly flattened where decades of travelers have sat in this exact place before you. You trace a slow line along its ridges, back and forth, feeling the nap of it change direction under your fingers. Dark, then light, then dark again, depending on which way you brush it. There's something satisfying in that, something that asks nothing of you. Above the window, a small brass luggage rail runs the length of the compartment, empty except for a single knitted blanket someone, perhaps you, perhaps the attendant, it hardly matters now, has folded there for later. You don't reach for it yet. It's not that kind of cold in here. The heating along the floor gives off a faint metallic warmth that rises just enough to keep the window's chill from reaching your ankles. Outside, the bare rock has begun to soften into something gentler, low shrubs, then the dark suggestion of trees, spaced further apart than before, their shapes rising and falling with the unseen curve of the land. You watch them for a while without really watching, the way you might watch a fire, letting your eyes settle on nothing in particular. Somewhere down the corridor, a door slides shut with a soft, pneumatic hiss, and then nothing. Just the train's steady rhythm underneath everything, so constant now that it has stopped announcing itself as sound at all, becoming instead something closer to a pulse. The lamp's glow catches a thin line of condensation gathering at the very bottom edge of the window glass, where the cold outside meets the warmth you've built in here. It's a small thing, barely a thread of moisture, but you find yourself tracking its slow crawl downward, wondering absently if it will reach the sill before the next bend in the track shakes it loose. It doesn't. The track curves gently, the droplet trembles and holds. You lean back, letting your shoulders sink fully into the velvet now, feeling the small give of the cushion beneath the seat's frame. Older springs settling into a shape that seems, tonight, made just for you. The lamp stays lit, the window stays dark, and for a little while there is nothing else this compartment needs to be. Somewhere beyond the compartment door, a sound finds its way to you, faint at first, almost imagined, then clearer, a violin or something like one, drifting from a car further down the train. You tilt your head toward the sound. It isn't a performance, not really. More like someone practicing quietly for their own sake, unaware or unbothered that the notes are traveling. The melody wanders. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere in particular, and somehow that makes it easier to listen to. You settle back and let it come to you in pieces, the way sound does through walls and distance. A phrase rises, fades, gets swallowed by the train's own rhythm, then returns, a little changed. You find yourself waiting for it, the way you'd wait for a familiar face to reappear in a crowd. The corridor outside your door creaks faintly as someone passes. Their footsteps pause, just for a moment, as if they too are listening. Then they continue on, and the music keeps playing beneath everything else, a thread stitched through the clatter of wheels and the low hum of the heating vents. You notice how the melody seems to match the pace of the train without trying to. A slow line stretches out just as the track dips through a gentle bend. A quicker run of notes coincides with a straighter stretch, the wheels ticking faster beneath you. It's probably coincidence, but it doesn't feel like coincidence right now. Your eyes drift half shut. You're not trying to place the tune, not trying to remember where you might have heard something like it before. You're only letting it exist, the way you let the darkness outside the window exist, full of shapes you can't quite name. A held note stretches long, wavers, then resolves into something softer. It feels almost like a held breath finally let go. The violin pauses. You wait, unsure if it's finished or only gathering itself. A few seconds pass with nothing but the train's steady undertone, wheels and rails, the small clicks of the car settling into itself. Then the music begins again, quieter now, lower, as if it too is winding down for the night. You wonder, idly, who is playing. A passenger who couldn't sleep, maybe. Someone with an instrument case tucked under a seat a few cars away, unable to resist a little sound in the quiet hours. You don't need to know. It's enough that it's happening, somewhere close but out of sight. A small gift passed through walls without asking anything back. The melody thins out further, note by note, until it's less a tune and more a suggestion of one. Your shoulders loosen. Your breathing slows without you deciding it should. Eventually, the sound fades so gradually you can't mark the exact moment it stopped. Only the train remains, humming its low, constant note beneath you, patient and unbothered, carrying you forward through whatever hour this is, toward wherever morning waits. The compartment window holds a thin film of cold against your fingertip. You trace a small circle in it, just to feel the difference between the warmth of the glass near the frame and the chill at its center, where the night presses closest. Outside, the mountains are only suggestions now, darker shapes against a sky that's not quite black, not quite blue. You can't see them so much as sense their absence, the place where stars stop, low and jagged, before the sky resumes above the peaks. Somewhere out there is a manor with its lamps lit, though it's hours yet, and you're not thinking about arriving. You're thinking about the glass and the cold, and how strange it is that a window can hold both temperatures at once, so close together. Your own reflection sits faintly over the darkness outside, translucent, a little ghostly. You watch it for a while. It blinks when you blink. It tilts its head when the train leans into a long curve, and for a moment, the reflection and the real mountains overlap, your own tired eyes hanging just above a ridgeline, as if you'd been carved into the landscape and left there to watch it pass. A fine mist has settled on the outside of the glass, too, you realize. Or maybe it's just breath fog from inside meeting the cold from outside part way. Either way, it softens everything. The distant shapes lose their edges. Somewhere, far off, impossibly far, there's a single point of light. A farmhouse window, maybe, or a lantern on a slow cart, and it wavers as the train shifts, swimming in and out of focus through the fogged glass like something underwater. You lift your sleeve and wipe a small, clear patch, just enough to see properly. The light is still there, steadier now. It holds its place while everything else rushes past it, and there's something almost funny about that. How a night train convinces you the world is racing by, when really it's just you moving, and the world staying exactly where it always was. The glass fogs again within a minute. You let it. There's no reason to keep it clear. The blurred version has its own kind of company in it. Soft shapes, no sharp corners, nothing that asks anything of you. Further down, past your own faint reflection, you notice the window across the aisle holds a different night. Steeper black, no scattered light at all, just the shape of a slope rising close to the tracks, so near you'd think you could touch it if the glass weren't there. It's strange how two windows, a few feet apart, can hold such different versions of the same dark. The cold patch under your finger has warmed now, matched almost to the temperature of your skin. You press your palm flat instead, feeling the larger chill of it, letting your own warmth spread slowly outward until even that fades into something neutral, something that isn't quite warm or cold anymore. Outside, the point of light disappears behind a stand of trees and doesn't return. You lean your head back against the seat, glass still faintly cool against your temple, and let the shapes outside keep changing without needing to follow any of them. The compartment door sits half open, the way it has since the last stop no one quite remembers. Beyond it, the corridor stretches long and dim, lined with those small brass wall lamps that don't so much light the space as suggest it, each one wrapped in its own little halo of warm gold. You can hear the corridor before you really notice you're hearing it. A rhythm underneath the train's rhythm. Footsteps, unhurried, somewhere down toward the next car. They don't come closer. They don't fade either. Just someone else awake in the small hours, walking off the same restlessness you're nursing, maybe. Or simply pacing because the legs ask for it after so many hours of sitting. The walls of the corridor are papered in a deep green, patterned with something botanical you can't quite name in this light. Ferns, perhaps, or long grasses bent sideways, the way things bend in wind. It should feel old-fashioned, and it does, but not in a tired way. More like a photograph that's aged well. The brass fittings have gone soft at the edges, worn smooth by decades of hands, trailing along them exactly the way your hand is trailing along them now. One palm skimming the handrail as you lean into the doorway. Somewhere close, a luggage rack creaks under its own small weight, settling. It's not an alarming sound. It's the sound of a train that has done this exact stretch of track 1,000 times before and knows precisely how much give the wood allows before it stops complaining. You notice the smell before you think to name it. Something like the ghost of coffee, old newsprint, the particular dust that gathers in velvet upholstery. It's not unpleasant. It's the smell of 100 other passengers who sat in these same seats and are gone now, replaced by you, briefly, the way everyone on a night train is briefly the custodian of somebody else's worn seat cushion. The corridor light nearest your door flickers just once, then steadies. You watch it for a second, half expecting it to do it again, and when it doesn't, there's a small, private satisfaction in that. The quiet resolution of a thing that threatened, for a moment, to become a nuisance, and then simply didn't. Further down, a door slides shut with a soft, pneumatic hiss. The footsteps you'd been half-tracking stop. A beat of stillness. Then a door, perhaps the same one, opens again, and the steps resume, moving away this time, back toward the rear of the train, fading into the general hush the way a thought fades before you've fully finished having it. You let your shoulder rest against the door frame. The wood is cool through your sleeve, cooler than the air inside the compartment, a small contrast that feels almost pleasant, like stepping from a warm room into a slightly less warm one and finding it clarifying rather than uncomfortable. The train takes a long curve, and for a moment the whole corridor seems to lean with you, brass lamps and green ferns and all. A held breath of a turn before the track straightens and everything settles back into its true vertical. You feel it in your feet more than you see it. That small shift of weight, gone as soon as it arrives. There is something soothing in a corridor at this hour. No destination in it, no urgency. Just a long, dim hallway between one small, warm room and the next, existing for no reason except to be walked through, or leaned into, or watched from a doorway by someone who isn't quite ready to go back to sitting down. For now, the doorway is enough. The lamps hold their small gold light. The ferns hold their pattern, and the train goes on holding all of it steady, car by car, through the dark. You step back inside the compartment and slide the door shut behind you, and the corridor sounds fall away to almost nothing. The seat is deep here, upholstered in something that might once have been maroon, worn soft at the edges where 100 other travelers rested their arms before you. You sit, and the cushion gives slowly, settling around you like it's been waiting. There's a window at your shoulder, taller than you expected, its glass cool even through the sleeve of your sweater. Outside, the dark rolls past in long, unbroken sweeps. No lights out there now, no farmhouses. Nothing but the suggestion of hills against a sky just barely less black than the land beneath it. You reach up to the little brass fixture beside the window, a reading lamp with a pleated shade the color of weak tea. It clicks on with a soft, mechanical certainty, and a small pool of amber light gathers in your lap. Just enough to see your own hands by. Just enough to make the window across from you turn into a faint mirror, your own reflection layered over the hills sliding past. There's a fold-down table in front of you, its surface scuffed pale in places, and someone, long before you, carved a small, careless mark into one corner. A curve, maybe an initial, softened now by years of polish and passenger sleeves. You run your thumb over it without really meaning to. You wonder who they were, whether they were tired too, whether they were watching hills like these. The seat across from you is empty, and somehow that feels less lonely than it should. A woven blanket lies folded over its armrest, striped in faded railway colors, left there perhaps by an earlier passenger, perhaps just for show. You don't reach for it, not yet. For now, it's enough to know it's there, folded and patient, the way things in a train car always seem to be, waiting without impatience for whoever needs them next. Above the opposite seat, a luggage rack holds a single item that isn't yours, a canvas satchel, buckled shut, its leather straps soft with age. You find yourself inventing a story for it without trying to. A traveling salesman's samples, a student's books, a grandmother's knitting, needles still tucked inside the yarn. It doesn't matter which. The not knowing is its own kind of comfort, a small mystery that asks nothing of you. The train takes a gentle dip, the track dropping and rising again like a held breath let out slowly, and your reflection in the glass shivers for a moment before settling. Somewhere below your feet, the wheels keep their steady conversation with the rails, a sound so constant you'd almost stop noticing it until this small dip brought it back to your attention, briefly, like a friend clearing their throat in another room. You lean your head against the cool glass, just for a moment, feeling the vibration hum faintly against your temple. It's not uncomfortable. It's almost exactly the opposite. A low, wordless reminder that you are being carried, that no effort of yours is required right now beyond simply being here, in this pool of amber light, in this particular seat, on this particular night. The lamp's glow doesn't reach the corners of the compartment, and you don't mind. Some things are allowed to stay a little bit dark, a little bit unexplained, folded neatly like a blanket you haven't needed yet. The hills keep sliding by outside, patient and unlit, keeping their shapes to themselves until morning, or until you close your eyes, whichever comes first. The corridor outside your compartment has gone quiet. Somewhere down the carriage, A door slides shut with a soft wooden knock. And then, nothing. Only the train's steady rhythm underneath everything, patient as a held breath. You slide open your own door, just a little, curious about the world beyond your small lit room. The corridor light is dimmer than yours, a long amber strip running toward the next carriage, and the windows along it show only your own reflection, faint and doubled against the black glass. The floor hums under your feet through your socks. You can feel the wheels more than hear them here, a low vibration that travels up through the soles and settles somewhere behind your knees. Not unpleasant, almost like the train reminding you it's still moving, still carrying you forward while you stand still. A luggage rack near the corridor's end holds someone else's coat, dark wool, a little damp at the shoulders, as if its owner boarded during rain that has long since stopped. You don't touch it. There's something companionable about it anyway, proof that you share this small moving world with other quiet people, all of you sealed into your own separate rooms, all traveling toward the same dark mountains. At the end of the corridor, a window is cracked open, just slightly, and cold air slips through in a thin ribbon. It smells of pine and iron and something mineral, like stone after rain. You lean toward it without quite meaning to, the way you might lean toward an open door in summer, and the air touches your face, sharp and clean, before you ease the window shut again, latching it soft. Back near your own door, a small brass plate is fixed to the wall, engraved with a compartment number worn pale by decades of thumbs. Someone has traced over the number so many times the metal has gone smooth there. A little dip in the brass, shaped like nothing in particular, shaped only by attention, repeated over years. You find yourself pressing one finger into that worn place, just to feel it, cool and slightly concave, the way a stair tread wears soft in its center from footsteps that were never trying to leave a mark at all. There's a comfort in that kind of wearing down. Not damage, just use, just time. Moving through a thing gently, over and over, until it remembers being touched. You slide your door shut again, and the corridor light dims further behind the frosted glass, and your own small lamp glows warmer by comparison, familiar now, already a little like home after only this short while aboard. The seat cushion has taken the shape of you already. Some quiet negotiation between fabric and weight that happened without your noticing. You settle back into it, and it receives you exactly, the way water receives a stone, without protest, without acknowledgement, simply making room. Outside, the hills have gone even darker, if that's possible. Hills becoming shapes, becoming suggestions of shapes, until you're no longer sure if you're seeing mountains or only imagining the place where mountains ought to be. The train doesn't hurry to show you. It only carries you closer, unhurried. The corridor quiet again behind your door. The coat still hanging on its hook. The worn brass number still holding the shape of 1,000 idle thumbs. Yours now among them. Back in your seat, the compartment feels smaller than it did an hour ago. Warmer, too. Not from any fire, just from the simple fact of having been sat in for so long, your shape pressed into the cushion until it seems to remember you. You notice the light first, a single amber bulb above the door, dimmed low, the kind that makes shadows soft instead of sharp. It flickers once, so briefly you almost decide you imagined it, then settles back into its quiet hum. Somewhere beneath your feet, the wheels keep their long, even rhythm against the rails, a sound so constant by now that it has stopped being a sound at all and becomes something more like silence's own heartbeat. Your eyes drift to the little fold-down table by the window. Someone, maybe you, maybe the last passenger to sit here, has left a faint ring on its surface, pale and circular, the ghost of a glass set down without a coaster. You run a thumb over it. Smooth, cool, a small evidence of someone else's ordinary night, folded quietly into yours. The seat across from you is empty, and you find yourself glancing at it the way you might glance at an empty chair at a kitchen table. Not with any real expectation, just a soft, idle curiosity about who else might have sat there. A woman with a paperback. A man half asleep before you'd even boarded. The upholstery holds no memory you can read, only a faint gray sheen where hands and shoulders have rested over years of these same roots. You reach up and turn the small dial beside the window, and the reading lamp above you brightens, then dims, then finds a level that feels right. Enough to see your own hands, not enough to erase the night outside the glass. Beyond it, the hills have gone fully dark now. No more farmhouse lights scattered across them. Only the occasional pale gleam of frost on a distant slope, silvered by a moon you can't quite see, but can somehow feel is there. There's a small brass hook on the wall to your left, empty, waiting for a coat you haven't taken off yet. You leave it be for now. The train sways gently as it takes a long curve, and you feel your body lean with it, unhurried, the way a boat leans into a slow wave. Nothing to correct, nothing to hold on to. The motion simply happens, and you happen along with it. Somewhere down the car, faint and muffled through the walls, you hear the low murmur of another passenger's voice, then quiet again. Not words, just tone, a ribbon of sound, there and then gone, swallowed by distance and the train's steady breathing. It's oddly comforting, this proof of other lives moving parallel to yours tonight. All of you rocked by the same rhythm, all of you headed toward the same dark mountains none of you can see yet. You settle deeper into the seat, feeling the small give of the cushion beneath your shoulder blades, the faint chill of the window glass radiating just slightly against your sleeve when your arm brushes close to it. Outside, the hills keep sliding past, patient, endless, indifferent to whether you watch them or close your eyes. Your hand finds the armrest, worn smooth like the brass plate in the corridor, like everything on this train that has been touched softly, again and again, by strangers who never met each other, but who all, in their own nights, sat exactly here. The wheels hum on beneath you, low and even, and the amber light holds steady above the door. And for now, there is nowhere else this moment needs to go. The window has fogged again, just at the corner nearest your shoulder. You notice it, the way you notice most things at this hour. Slowly, without any hurry to name it. A thin bloom of mist, shaped by your own breath from some time ago, or maybe from the cold pressing its palm against the glass from outside. You reach up, not really thinking, and drag one finger through it. A small, clear line, and beyond it, nothing but blue-black dark, and the suggestion of trees going by too fast to become anything more than shapes. The glass is colder than you expect, colder than the air inside the compartment, which has settled now into something even and mild, warmed by the radiator under the seats that ticks now and then, like it's counting something only it understands. You keep your finger there a moment longer, feeling the chill travel up into your knuckle, and there's a small, private satisfaction in it. Proof that outside is still outside, still vast, still moving. You wonder, without much urgency, how fast the train is actually going. Fast enough that a lit window in a farmhouse appears and vanishes before you can wonder who's awake in it. Fast enough that the fog you wiped away is already reforming, breath by breath, erasing your little clear line from the edges inward. There's something comforting in watching it disappear. You didn't need to keep it. Somewhere above your head, the luggage rack holds its usual small argument with the train's motion. A strap buckle ticking softly against metal, a bag shifting a centimeter and then settling as if it too has decided this is a fine place to rest. You tip your head back against the seat and watch the ceiling light instead, a dim oval of brass-colored glass that hums at a pitch so low you feel it more in your jaw than hear it in your ears. The corridor beyond your compartment door sends in only the faintest sound now. No footsteps, no voices, just the train's own rhythm passed along uninterrupted, wheel over rail, patient as breathing. You let your eyes drift half closed, and the mist on the window blurs the outside world further still, turning a distant scatter of lights into something like a smear of paint, gold on black. You could wipe it clear again. You don't. There's a kind of ease in letting the glass do what it wants. Fog up, hold its blur, forget the shape of your fingertip. The world outside doesn't need to be sharp right now. It only needs to keep moving past you at this unhurried, enormous speed, carrying you toward mountains you haven't seen yet and don't need to picture clearly to trust are there. Your own reflection sits faintly on the glass now, laid over the blurred lights like a second, gentler window. You look almost translucent in it, half you, half hillside, half warm gold, half cold dark. It's a strange comfort, seeing yourself made soft that way, edges undefined, no longer needing to hold any particular shape either. The ticking radiator, the humming light, the wheels underneath, all of it moves at the same steady pace, and you let your own breathing find that pace too, without trying very hard. The window stays clouded, the night stays wide. Nothing here is asking anything of you at all. Somewhere down the corridor, a door slides shut with a soft, felted thud, and the sound travels through the carriage the way sound does on trains at night, rounded at the edges, easy to mistake for something you dreamed. You shift your shoulders against the seatback and notice, for the first time this evening, how the cushion has taken the shape of you. Not tight, not new, just settled. The way a favorite chair remembers a favorite person. Your hands are loose in your lap. You turn them over, palms up, and study them the way you might study something borrowed. There's a faint warmth left in the fingers from the mug you set down a while ago, though the mug itself is out of the story now, empty and forgotten on the little fold-down table. What's left is just the warmth, residue of comfort, no object required. The overhead lamp hums at a pitch so low it isn't really sound anymore, more like a texture the air has. You let your attention drop from your hands to your feet, tucked under the opposite seat, and notice the particular heaviness that's crept into them. Not discomfort, the good kind of heavy, the kind that means the body has stopped negotiating with the day and started to agree with the night. Someone a few rows back laughs quietly at something, a private joke that doesn't need translating, and then the laugh dissolves back into the general hush of the car. You find yourself smiling too, at nothing in particular, just at the shape of the sound, the way secondhand warmth still warms. The train takes a long, unhurried curve, and you feel it in your ribs before you feel it anywhere else. That faint sideways lean the whole car makes together. Seats and luggage racks and sleeping strangers all tilting the same few degrees, like something choreographed long ago and rehearsed 1,000 times since. You lean with it. There's no reason to resist a curve that ends exactly where it means to. Your jaw feels different than it did an hour ago. Looser. You hadn't noticed you'd been holding it any particular way until it let go. That's usually how it happens. Tension leaves a room you didn't know it was standing in, and only the emptiness afterward tells you it was ever there at all. Somewhere near your collarbone, your own pulse makes itself known, slow and unbothered, keeping a much gentler rhythm than the wheels below you, the two of them running side by side without ever quite matching, like two clocks in two rooms of the same house. You think, briefly and without urgency, about how far you've come since the platform. Not in miles, just in weight. How much lighter the shoulders are now than they were at the start of the evening. How much less the hands feel like they need to be holding something. The corridor door thuds again, farther off this time. Someone else settling somewhere else. Another version of exactly what you're doing right now. It's a small comfort, knowing the whole train is full of people doing this same quiet, unremarkable thing. Arriving nowhere yet. Needing to be nowhere yet, just being carried, patiently, through the dark, by something larger than any one of them that already knows the way. The window beside you holds a thin film of cold, and you notice it now, the way you'd notice a hand resting lightly on your shoulder. Barely there, but present. You lift one finger and touch the glass, just to feel it. It answers instantly, a small, honest cold that has nothing to hide. Outside, the world is mostly guesswork, a shape that might be a fence post, a darker stretch that might be a stand of pines, gone before you can be sure. Every so often, a single light appears far off in the black, a farmhouse window maybe, someone else awake at this hour, for reasons you'll never know, and then it slides away behind the frame, like it was never there at all. You find yourself waiting for the next one, not anxiously, the way you might wait for a wave to come in, already sure that it will. The glass fogs faintly with your breath, a small cloud blooming and shrinking, and you watch it happen a few times before you let your hand fall back into your lap. There's something satisfying about a thing that undoes itself so patiently. No residue, no mess, just breath arriving and breath leaving over and over, keeping its own quiet time alongside the wheels. Further off, past the glass, past the dark fields, the mountains are there. You know this without needing to see them, the way you know a room is large, even blindfolded, from how the air moves through it. Their shape is only a deeper kind of darkness, stacked against a slightly less dark sky. No detail, no snow catching light, not tonight. Just mass, just the promise of something enormous, patiently waiting its turn to be seen. You don't mind that it isn't yet. There's a kind of luxury in a thing postponed this gently, with no clock pushing from behind. A thin curtain hangs at the edge of your window, and when the train leans into a long curve, it sways once, unhurried, like it's testing whether it still remembers how. You watch the small movement with more attention than it probably deserves. That's all right. Attention doesn't need a reason this far into the night. Somewhere down the aisle, someone shifts in their sleep, a soft sound of fabric against fabric, and then stillness returns, thicker than before, as if the whole car exhaled once and settled lower into itself. You turn your face back to the glass. Your own reflection sits faintly over the darkness outside, half see-through, a paler shape layered on top of the fields and the fence posts and the far, invisible mountains. And for a moment, you're both things at once, the traveler and the landscape, superimposed, neither one blocking out the other. It should feel strange. It doesn't. It feels, if anything, like being included in the view rather than separate from it. The train hums on beneath you, low and constant, a sound you've stopped noticing as sound and started feeling as simply the shape of now. Your shoulder rests against the cool wall of the car. Your breath keeps fogging small clouds onto old glass. Outside, one more light appears, far and low, and you watch for it to vanish, already at ease with the knowing that it will. The dark keeps unrolling past the window, patient, endless, asking nothing of you at all. The corridor outside your compartment is empty at this hour. You know this without looking, the way you know the shape of a room in the dark. No footsteps, no murmur of other passengers finding their way to the dining car. Just the train, breathing its long, steady breath beneath you. You notice the sound of it properly now. Not the window, not the view. The sound. A low rhythm underneath everything. Wheels finding the seams in the track. A soft double knock repeating itself, like something being counted. It has been there the whole time, of course. You are only now letting your attention rest on it, the way you might finally hear a clock in a room after ignoring it for an hour. There's a give to the rhythm, a slight sway that moves through your shoulders and down into the cushion beneath you. The whole car leans, ever so gently, into a turn you can't see, and straightens again. Somewhere below your seat, metal shifts against metal, patient and unbothered, doing the same small job it has done for hours and will do for hours more. You let your hand rest flat against the seat beside you. The fabric holds a little warmth, not from anything you did, just from being enclosed, from the compartment holding its air close. Your palm can feel the faintest tremor traveling up through the frame of the train, a vibration too small to be a movement, more like a pulse. It's steady in a way that has nothing to do with hurry. Somewhere further down the carriage, a door latch clicks shut. Just once. Then nothing again but the train's own voice, patient underneath you. The sound of distance being covered without any particular urgency about it. You tip your head back against the seat and let your eyes half close. Not to sleep yet, just to listen without the distraction of watching anything. In this half dark, the rhythm underneath you seems to slow, or maybe your sense of it does. The mind does that sometimes. Smooths a repeating sound into something closer to silence, until it isn't separate from the quiet at all, just part of it. A porter's cart must have gone by earlier, because there's the faintest smell left behind in the corridor air that reaches your compartment now. Something like the memory of tea, and something like clean linen. It's not unpleasant. It's the smell of a train that has been carrying people carefully through the night for a long time. The smell of upholstery that has held 1,000 quiet shoulders before yours. You shift slightly, and the seat gives with you. An old kind of give, worn in gently rather than broken down. Your body finds the shape it already knows. There's no adjustment needed, just settling, the way water settles into whatever holds it. The rhythm continues below you, indifferent and companionable at once. It doesn't ask anything of you. It simply carries on, the same low knock, the same small sway, marking out the miles in a language that doesn't need translating. You are not counting them. You don't need to. Somewhere ahead, unseen, the track curves toward the high, dark shapes you already know are waiting there. But that's not now. Now is only this, the seat holding you, the faint, good smell of the corridor, the sound underneath everything that never once falters. You let your shoulders drop another fraction, and the train carries the rest. The window has gone cool again, and you notice it the way you notice small things at this hour, without needing to do anything about it. Just a fact. Glass and night, and the faint press of your own reflection floating somewhere over the dark shapes outside. You lift one hand and rest your fingertips against it. Cold, but not unpleasant. A clean kind of cold, like the inside of a spoon, like the first sip of water in the morning. You leave your hand there a moment longer than you need to, just to feel the chill climb into your fingers, small and simple. Outside, the shapes have slowed into something you can almost name. A long, dark ridge that might be a hillside. A scatter of pale dots that might be someone's window. Someone's kitchen light left on for reasons that have nothing to do with you. You'll never know whose. That's all right. Some things are allowed to pass by unexplained. You breathe against the glass, just once, and a small circle of fog blooms and fades before you can even admire it properly. Gone before it finishes arriving, rather like tonight itself. Your own face, faint in the reflection, looks calmer than you expected. Not tired exactly, just settled, loosened at the edges, the way a knot loosens when you stop pulling at it and let it sit. The train leans, gentle, into some turn you can't see the shape of, and your reflection leans with it, and the lights outside slide sideways for a moment before straightening again. You don't brace for it. There's nothing to brace for. The car knows how to hold a curve. It has done this every night for longer than you've been on it. You let your hand fall from the glass and rest it back in your lap, and the cold stays printed on your fingertips a little while, fading slowly, like a sound after the source has stopped. Somewhere down the corridor, a door meets its frame, softly, once. You don't turn toward it. You've stopped needing to account for every small sound the train makes. They belong to it, not to you. They were happening long before you sat down here, and they'll go on happening after. There's a particular ease in that, in being a passenger inside something that doesn't need your attention to keep working. The window will keep going dark and pale by turns. The hills will keep passing, named or unnamed. None of it is asking anything of you tonight. You let your shoulders drop another small degree into the seat. The glass beside you holds the last trace of your handprint, a soft smudge already losing its edges, already becoming nothing again. Maybe that's most of what a night like this is for. Not arriving anywhere, not understanding everything you pass, just letting the dark slide by at exactly the speed it wants to, while some quieter part of you rides along, unhurried, asking for nothing back. The train settles into a long, straight stretch of track, and you feel it in your shoulders before you notice it anywhere else. The rhythm underneath you smooths out, steadier now, like the rails themselves have exhaled. You shift your attention to your own hands, resting loose in your lap. There's a particular weight to them at this hour, heavier than they were, heavier than they'll remember being tomorrow. You turn one palm upward, just slightly, and notice the small warmth held in it, gathered from nowhere in particular. Just the warmth the body makes when it stops asking anything of itself. Somewhere down the car, a page turns, soft, unhurried. The sound of someone else, also in no rush to be anywhere but here. You don't turn to look. You don't need to. The sound is enough. A small proof that the world continues quietly around you, that you are not the only one who is slowed down tonight. Your breath moves through you without your help now, in and then out, and the gap between the two grows a little longer each time, the way it does right before sleep decides to take you seriously. The blanket across your knees has gone still, holding the shape you gave it an hour ago. You don't adjust it. There's nothing to adjust. It's simply doing what a blanket does, patiently, without needing to be thanked for it. You notice, almost as an afterthought, how little effort it takes to keep your eyes closed now. Not sleep exactly, not yet, but something adjacent to it. A soft doubling, where the sound of the wheels and the sound of your own pulse start to line up. Start to sound like the same rhythm wearing two different voices. There's a comfort in that, in being carried by something larger than yourself that doesn't require your attention to keep working. The train doesn't need you to watch the dark pass by. It will keep moving toward the mountain manor, whether your eyes are open or closed, whether you are awake enough to notice each curve or not. So you let that go. You let the noticing go. What's left is simpler, the weight of your own hands, the small distance between one breath and the next, the particular hush of a train car at an hour when most of the world outside has gone dark and quiet without you. You think, distantly, that this is what rest actually is. Not the absence of movement, but the absence of needing to steer it. Something else is doing the steering tonight. Something with rails and a schedule and a destination it isn't in any hurry to reach. And you are simply here, carried, held loosely by motion, by warmth, by the small, ordinary sound of someone else's page turning somewhere behind you. Nothing left to hold on to, and nothing that needs holding. The window beside you has gone almost black. Somewhere past your own faint reflection, the mountains are out there, holding their shape against a sky just a shade lighter than the rock itself. You can't see them, not really, just a suggestion of darker dark, a line where the land decides to stop being flat. But you know they're there, the way you know the floor is there before your foot finds it. A thin cold comes off the glass, not unpleasant, just a small honesty from the world outside, pressing in through the pain to remind you that out there, it's night in a bigger, older way than it is in here. In here, the night is small and kept. Out there, it belongs to the mountain. The train leans, just slightly, into a long curve. Your shoulder drifts against the seat back and settles. Nothing in the car reacts. No one stirs. The curve finishes and the train straightens itself out again, patient about it, the way a hand smooths a sheet without being asked. You notice the air has a taste now, faintly metallic, faintly like the cold outside has found some small seam to slip in through. It doesn't reach you, it just hangs at the edge of things, a rumor of temperature rather than the temperature itself. You could press your fingertips to the glass just to feel that thin cold meet warm skin, but you don't. It's enough to know it's there. Some comforts don't need to be touched to be counted. Further off, past where you can see, there's a sound that might be wind combing through something high and bare. A ridge, a stand of trees leaned into decades of weather. Or it might be nothing at all, just the train's own passage turned strange by distance and the dark. You let it be either. It doesn't need deciding. Your breath fogs the glass, very lightly, and fades before it's really there. You watch it happen twice, 3 times. A small, private weather system that lives only as long as your attention on it. Everything past the window keeps its own hours tonight. The mountain doesn't know you're passing it. It was here before the rails, will be here after they've rusted into something the ground reclaims. There's a kind of rest in that, being small next to something old, riding along its edge without needing it to notice you. Your eyelids have grown heavy in a way that doesn't ask permission anymore. The window's cold sits 2 inches from your cheek, close but not touching, and somehow that's exactly the right distance, near enough to feel looked after, far enough to stay warm. The dark outside thickens further, if that's even a thing dark can do. Maybe it only feels that way because your own eyes are starting to close over it, layering their own dimness onto the mountains. You don't fight it. There's nothing here that needs fighting. Just glass and cold and something enormous and quiet standing watch in the distance, asking nothing of you at all. The train carries on beneath it, small and warm and moving, and you carry on inside the train, smaller still and warmer and almost still. The compartment has grown very still. Somewhere down the corridor, a door clicks shut, softly, and then nothing else moves. You notice, only now, the weight of your own hands resting in your lap, heavy in a good way. The kind of heavy that means the body has stopped asking anything of you. The train doesn't rush. It never has, not once, this whole journey. It simply carries on, steady, patient, the way a river carries a leaf without needing to think about it. You've stopped counting the hours. You've stopped wondering how far the mountain manor might be, whether it's 1 valley away or 10. That question has quietly let go of you, and you've quietly let go of it too. The seat beneath you has taken the exact shape of your body by now. It knows your weight. It has learned you the way old furniture does, the way a well-worn path through grass remembers footsteps. There's a comfort in that, being known, even by something as simple as upholstery and springs. Your breathing has slowed to match the rhythm of the wheels, or maybe it was always the other way around, the wheels slowing to match you. Either way, the two have found each other. In and out, click and clack. A partnership that asks nothing of you but to keep existing, softly, in the dark. The window beside you holds only your own faint reflection now, and beyond it, nothing but night folding over night, mountain over mountain, none of it needing your attention anymore. You could look. You don't have to. The world outside will still be there, whether you watch it or not. And somehow, that's the most restful thought of all. There's no arrival waiting to interrupt this. No platform rushing up to meet you. No porter calling out a station name. No need to gather anything or check that you haven't forgotten something under the seat. There is only this middle place, this long, quiet corridor of time between where you started and wherever you're going. And it turns out the middle was always the softest part. Nobody tells you that. You have to ride long enough to find it yourself. Somewhere far ahead, the mountain manor waits in the dark, its windows unlit or maybe glowing faintly. You'll never quite know which, because you're not there yet. And tonight, that's exactly right. Tonight belongs to the space between, to the train, to the low hum underneath everything, patient as breathing. Your eyelids have grown too heavy to argue with. That's all right. Nothing here requires your eyes to be open. The journey doesn't need witnesses. It only needs someone to carry gently through the night. And it has been doing exactly that, without complaint, this whole time. Maybe that's the quiet truth of any long journey, that the going matters more than the getting there, that somewhere in all that motion, in all that soft mechanical rhythm, you were allowed to simply rest, unhurried, unfinished, still moving towards something good without needing to have already arrived. The train carries on. You carry on with it, folded into the dark, into the hush, into whatever comes after thought. Wherever the tracks lead next, they can wait until morning. And that's where we leave it for tonight. Wherever you are, however heavy your eyes have gotten, there's nothing else you need to do right now. Just let it all go. Sleep well.